Hey guys, Merry almost Christmas. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Oh man, I meant to get on here like a couple of hours ago. And I just wanted to do a stream and talk about some of the crazy things going on in our crazy right-wing politics right now. I'm sure the left is eating all of this up, because they are definitely set to win the midterms. And unless some big changes are made, I don't see, we'll be lucky if we hold on to the Senate. And part of me is like, don't care about politics, don't care about midterms, but I do. I don't know if there's really even that much difference between the left and right anymore. My only concern would be immigration. That seems to be the only thing that we can be, and DEI, cultural issues. Anyway, I am not liking what I am seeing from people like Alex Jones. In particular, I guess he's just top of mind right now because, and Valhalla, if anybody watches him on YouTube, he's got a pretty big podcast. They're basically like, it sounds like they're kind of like trying to cancel Candace Owens, and they've always been about on the same side of things with her. They've defended her right to investigate. But now, I guess because this Mitch character, who I will be the first to say that I was not impressed with Mitch. Like, for some of the same reasons, besides the fact that Candace has like shown us facts and shown us evidence. Anybody that's like, oh, she's just taking you down a wild rabbit hole, that's just not true. Like, she has shown us evidence. She gets leads. She has over and over again told everyone, this is an investigation. I'm doing an investigation because the FBI has left us on, as like a limited hangout kind of thing. They've arrested this guy, and so many of us don't feel that there's even enough sufficient evidence to prove his guilt. But there wasn't a lot of evidence to prove Sirhan killed RFK, and they sure as hell managed to get him convicted. He's still sitting in prison, so he is a wonderful example of that. We still don't have all of the files from the JFK assassination, but you can pretty much bet on there being about as big of a conspiracy with the JFK as there is with the Charlie Kirk. There's layers to this. All right. Anyway, okay. So I've got some stuff the reason I'm doing it this way is because I am going to add some video on here. Let me get this going. All right, let's go in here. Why is my brain has stopped working? Where is, hold on. Okay, there we go. Why am I not seeing my bookmarks? Am I tripping? My bookmarks should be right over here. What is going on here? Where is my bookmarks? More. There we go. All right. Sorry. All right. So here's Alex Jones. First off, I just want to show you guys this. It's a short clip. This right here is from Candace. She shared this yesterday. And this is the incident report from Brian Harple. Not Brian Harple, this Mitch Snow guy, right? What I'm a little confused on is that the report is written up as Michael Snow. So did they get it wrong in the report? Anyway, people are saying Candace didn't check her facts first before she put this guy on stage or, brought him on her show. Yeah, she did. This is stuff that she's releasing that he gave to her. I don't believe for a second that Candace, with the way that these people are chomping at the bit to sue Candace, they are. They're just waiting for her to defame them, to say something that they can call defamation, even if it was a mistake, right? So she is having to double, triple, quadruple check everything before she brings, evidence that is damning to light, right? And that because the Streisand effect is in effect when it comes to this Charlie Kirk conspiracy, and the more they try to shut Candace Owens down, the more people are looking at her and going, she's passing the gut check. What she's saying makes sense. Versus the feds have lied to us. We don't believe what they're saying. We don't trust the feds. And like I've said before, this whole situation breaks all the way down to a lack of trust in institutions, right? So basically after the pandemic is when we really started to see the breakdown in our trust for the DOJ, our HHS, the NIH. We lost trust with our doctors, with the experts, with the news. Fake news media was kind of coined by Trump. Now Candace has coined FedSlop, right? I think that is the best coined term of 2025. So this right here is her showing that what Mitch Snow said about where he was. She has the receipts from where he was at the Candlewood Suites on Fort Huachuca's base, right? On that day, at that time. She also has his military ID and his papers showing that he was discharged. And I guess like she either said retired or he said retired. And I've seen either Valhalla or somebody using that technical of a term like, oh, she said that he was retired and he was actually discharged. Whatever, he was in it, right? So my point being, they're trying to pick and choose a little bit. And you got to wonder, like, do I think like Valhalla podcast, like that dude got the call? No, I don't. But I feel like it's much easier to jump on the Candace is going too far train than it is to go, she's conducting an investigation that should be conducted by a DOJ. Let her cook, let her work, right? She hasn't come out since these allegations about Mitch Snow being involved with domestic abuse with his ex-wife. Valhalla said he's going to come out with some major podcast on Friday, and he's going to bring the heat and give all this evidence about what a crazy, like, lunatic this guy is. He apparently talked to his family, talked to his son, talked to this guy's kids, and that this Mitch Snow character, that his own son said that his dad is like the ultimate con artist. Well, if that's the case, then isn't there a chance that he conned Candace? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, this guy could actually have been here. Yeah, I believe this is an incident report right here. You can see this, right? Gives you all the officer's name, Mr. Michael Snow, what happened. But obvious, like, there's no evidence that this guy's been able to present other than his word that he saw Erica Kirk, that he saw Brian Harple. And then he like added at the end, oh, and I think it was Cabot Phillips, this ex-boyfriend of Erica Kirk, that's now come to light. There's all this conspiracy about this Cabot dude taking Charlie's place in these speaking roles, and that I guess he was the senior editor for Daily Wire, that's all true. Okay, I don't know if he was going to take Charlie's place in these speaking engagements. He sure as hell isn't going to do it now. I mean, I can't imagine, even though they do have, the woman has like a brass set on her for real, because the way that she came out on that TPUS stage, like, it's just so obvious that Charlie Kirk was TPUSA. You know what I'm saying? Because that place is falling apart. their credibility shot. This woman comes out in a glittery suit to pyrotechnics. Once again, I don't know what it is with this lady and pyrotechnics and her outfits, right? And her makeup and the jewelry and where are your kids? Candace came out with this. My point being, I think that since the only way that they are going to get people to stop paying attention to a lot of truths that Candace is uncovering in this investigation is going to be to attack Candace's credibility. They're attacking her as a person. They're attacking her mental state. Like, oh, this woman's gone too far. She's crazy. Like, it's amazing that no one's like these same people. A lot of them are like diehard Trumpers that actually believe that Trump has done this wonderful job in the last 10 months. And are defending him at every given point, even Alex Jones, right? Like, I feel like if there was anyone else in the White House right now making the decisions that Trump is making, Alex Jones would not have the same tune. I don't know what it is about this older generation, the boomers, and being unable, even someone like Alex Jones, being unable to not look at Trump like he is some kind of god or something. All right. But they are. It's like he can do no wrong. They will make excuses for him, the Epstein files, while attacking Bill Clinton. And it's like, yeah, Bill Clinton's a perv, but it's looking like look, I mean, so is Trump. So is Trump. All right, guys. So she posted this. I think that the way they're going to attack her credibility is by giving her a lot of bad leads. All right. That's what I would do. Okay. If I was the evil ones behind the Charlie Kirk conspiracy and helped cover it up, and like the intel agencies definitely in on this, like this whole, the Fed slop, they're part of the Fed slop, right? So what would I do if I was the deep state? Okay. I don't think there's any air in between the CIA and Mossad. Okay. In fact, like I'm starting to wonder if like, is there even really a CIA? Or is it really just Mossad? I mean, they have infiltrated so hard that you've got to wonder, like, I almost feel like it's the same agency. And they're going to feed bad leads. What better lead than to have some, and then you're also going to have people that are just psychos, right? That are going to be like, oh, well, Fort Huachuca is close to, is close to wherever that would be convenient, right? And Candace has brought up this Fort Huachuca, and I happened to be there the day before Charlie was killed. So I'm going to tell her that I saw Erica and Brian there, and I'll tell her like 95% of the stuff that I tell her that builds up to the last thing I say that will lend credibility to this explosive revelation. All of that will be true, but this last little bit won't. And what really pisses me off is seeing people like Alex Jones. And yeah, I'm harping on him, but there's so many others, right, that are doing this, right? And it's like, they have the intelligence to be able to not throw the baby out with the bathwater. And what I mean by that is Candace just let this guy speak. She confirmed all these things were true. And he came out with these explosive allegations. That's the only part that hasn't been confirmed. Now Alex is coming out and saying, we have definite proof that Brian Harpole could not possibly have been at Fort Huachuca on September 9th. We don't have the confirmation yet. I don't think so. I haven't seen anything come out that Erica Kirk couldn't have been there. But my point being is they're going, Candace has gone too far. She's crazy. See, Brian Harpole, he was in Dallas or Florida, or wherever the hell he was. I can't keep up with all these places. But that he wasn't there. We have the receipts. Therefore, Candace put a bad witness on the stand. How many times have you put a lunatic on your show, Alex? I mean, hell, the whole reason that you're grasping for straws to keep Infowars up and running is because you came out and said that an entire shooting at an elementary school was all faked and that they were all crisis actors, right? So you want to talk about credibility here. Like, the same people that have given you the benefit of the doubt, that maybe, it's very easy to go down these rabbit holes. It's very easy to be fed bad information, so that the 95% of the things that you yourself are coming out with in the Alex Jones was right jar happens to always be right. But yet that was way off the rails, right? And it almost destroyed you. And I truly believe that if Alex Jones wasn't fighting so hard to keep Infowars on the air, which is really a catch-22. And I feel like he's been playing it safe ever since all of these recent battles in court that happened to be right around the time and right after Trump got into office, right? And I think that the Trump administration, wherever their influence has been, they have been able to help Alex Jones keep Infowars on the air and keep it in for him. So the last thing he wants to do is piss off whoever these influential people are that have helped him keep his show on the air, and not lose it to this Sandy Hook lawsuit, right? So he can't come out too hard. He can't criticize Trump too much. He's got to always toe this little line. He can't criticize Israel too much. He can't, he knows that obviously without them, he didn't have to get the call, right? He didn't have to get a call. His whole thing is he's desperate to keep his show on the air. And I don't blame him for it, but it's a catch-22, because the whole reason Alex Jones's show got big in the first place is because he followed the truth and facts where they led. He didn't mind sounding crazy, right? He didn't mind that most of America thought he was some conspiracy theorist nut job, because he knew that eventually his theories and his investigations would be proven right? And that we live in a free speech country. We have the First Amendment. So if you were allowed to say things that sounded insane, right, and took years to prove right because of the First Amendment, then you should know more than anybody what it's like to be attacked for going down a rabbit hole, maybe, but ones that have legit evidence. 95% of the shit, I say that easily, that Candace has come out with has been the truth, right? I mean, she said it over and over again on air that she's investigating this. And the way they're like, oh, Candace is grifting. I'm not going to go on some long rabbit hole. I'm just really pissed off at these people for acting like that they are just so much better than her. And it's like, dude, you want to talk about credibility? Candace has way more credibility than Alex Jones. I don't care how many things he's had, right? At this moment, she has more credibility than you do, because you've been towing the line on things that even Owen Schroyer, who's been with you for 10 years, he left, right? And you called him black-pilled and saying, oh, you're blaming Israel for everything. And he's like, no, dude, it just so happens that Trump's selling us out to these people, and that these people are rubbing it in our faces. And then you're making excuses for it. So they clashed. Owen left. That was really sad. People split over that. And the same people that, I like Owen and Alex, and I've been listening to both, but I listen to Alex less and less, because every time I hear him, it's not because he doesn't say the things I want to hear. I don't want to hear anything. I don't have some narrative that I want to hear, so that if someone tells me something where they have a factual basis for what they're saying, and they go, here's facts, right? Or here's this horrific part of the big beautiful bill that Trump pushed for, right? And it's going to cost us this much money, or whatever it is. If it's a fact, then I'm going to form my own opinion about it. I don't need anybody leading me by the nose, and neither does the rest of us, right? That's the whole reason I want to watch Fox News anymore.
Israel, I mean, how historical is that? But I just can't deal with the Alex Jones is, going to Israel to get his orders, whatever. It's just I would love to touch the Wailing Wall with all that history and culture, and I touched Stonehenge. By the time I got to Stonehenge, they put a fence around it, and right after that,
Okay, there's a lot of historical places that I would like to touch, right? I would love to go see Stonehenge, right? Why would you say something like that out of nowhere? Like, now that, like, this is the kind of shit that makes people go, like, what is the title of this? Mr. Sandy Hook says he'd love to go to Israel and touch the wall. Someone said Alex Jones has sold his soul. I personally do not believe that. I don't think that Alex Jones waited to get to this age to sell his soul. But I think he's panicking. Here's something else. This was in response to right here. Okay, so just John Mappin said, "Dear Alex, if one were a gentleman with basic manners and understood the history of the suppression of freedom of speech and the mechanisms of slavery, one simply would not act in the way that you and others seem to be acting. You are far from alone in such actions." I'm not going to read all that. There's a particular moment when a free voice stops being argued with and starts being diagnosed. It is unmistakable. It's an unmistakable tell. The facts are no longer confronted. The reasoning is no longer challenged, and debate gives way to insinuation. Something must be wrong with her, they say. He is unstable. She needs help. The old trick, reheated. Psychiatry as a political weapon, which is something that the CIA has been using. Like, I mean, that's a known thing. When you suggest that Candace Owens has mental health issues, we are not witnessing a medical opinion. We are watching an ancient political reflex try to reassert itself. It is the reflex of capture. This is not disagreement. It is attempted character liquidation. And worse than that, it is not the behavior of a gentleman. Far from argument to asylum. Historically, I'm sorry, guys, I don't know what's wrong with me. Historically, psychiatry has been the velvet glove over the iron fist of power. When states encounter voices that will not blend, psychiatry is mobilized to do what censorship alone cannot, to delegitimize the speaker rather than the speech. The Soviet Union perfected this technique. Dissents were not refuted. They were diagnosed. Oh my God, I'm not reading all that. But this guy made a very good assessment of what a lot of these right-wing pundits, I call them like MAGA talking heads, because they really act more like state media mouthpieces now. Okay. They, instead of literally living up to the acronym that they wear on their hats, right? MAGA, Make America Great Again. It's more like Make Trump Great Again, which Trump didn't have to lose his popularity. He's made his own choices, and I'm tired of people making excuses or saying that he's surrounded himself with the wrong people, especially when we see things like this, right? He does himself no freaking favors. Not with me, not with anybody, okay? We've had to look at shit like this. This Mark Levin's one of the most despised.
And I said, this is our first Jewish president.
This man, that man right there, Mark Levin, he is one of the most despised characters, right? On the right now. People are done with him. Tel Aviv Levin, even Steve Bannon called him out, who's a boomer, right? On Newsmax, Real America's Voice, which caters to like 70-year-olds and plus that are part of the 20% that are still like looking at the people in the Trump administration that are pretending to be MAGA, but really are establishment Republicans, and they don't know the difference, right? Because they grew up with Walter Cronkite and like 3 news stations, and they still watch Fox News and CNN and, well, not CNN, Fox News and Real America's Voice, and they think they're doing something if they don't watch Fox News, and they're like, I watch real news. I know this because that's what my grandparents do, okay? They're the only people that represent that like Mark Levin, okay? And Steve Bannon is like the #1 show on Real America's Voice now that Charlie Kirk is dead. And he called him out over the the past week. I know everyone's seen it. If you haven't, go look it up, but it was great. Called out Ben Shapiro too. But this crap right here, people are sick of. This is why people think we're occupied.
And I said, this is our first Jewish president. Now he's the first Jewish president to serve two not consecutive presidencies. We thank you for everything.
That's right. Bad things happened on the second one. Namely, the election was rigged. And we found out, and you see that happening.
And why is he
And
touching
you
him
are
like
the
that?
greatest president.
Shoving
God
his,
bless
like
you.
putting his arm around him, like that's really
I
unprecedented
said,
for
this is our first
someone
Jewish president.
to do that. Okay. I saved these just for you guys, right? Now, here's another thing if people want to stop hearing about stop the Zionism, stop what's happening with the MAGA takeover from the establishment, I would say only like I said, at most 20% of the conservative movement, I'd say 20% of the base, right, would support an establishment candidate. Okay, like Marco Rubio, just as an example. Or is even Israel first, okay? Without even realizing it. They might still call themselves America first, but then they go and defend this kind of crap, right? This is what is.
How about you get fired today?
How do we battle anti-Semitism on the internet? How are we doing better on algorithms? What companies can we work with? We are going to have a whole division within the office to work.
Anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism. It is not Jew hatred.
On technology. The
But they're
office is
calling it
going
that.
to be revamped entirely to be one of the highest profile offices in the
This guy
State
is
Department.
terrifying.
How can a U.S. official say that? Why should the U.S. government be trying to censor its own citizens? Like, I thought that was, first of all, illegal.
I thought we ran against that. That was the Biden administration.
But isn't that like,
If you haven't seen this this whole interview that Tucker did with Matt Gaetz, you have to go see it. When I tell you it was a great, I knew almost everything in it already because I'm a psycho political junkie like that. I know most people don't have time to listen to this kind of stuff. Make time for this. Go on YouTube, look it up, or on X, look it up, watch it. So worth it.
how is that different from slavery? If you can't say what you
The bondage
believe, well, I don't know. It's a form of bondage. It's like, I'm not treating you as a human being, as a free man, if I won't allow you to say what you think. This guy's standing up at some event with a bunch of lunatics saying,
Yeah, but
I'm
the
for
US State
censoring
Department-
Americans and I'm at work for the U.S. government. How about you get fired today?
Except he got hired today. I hope everybody's having a good day. I'm not trying to be negative at all. I'm just showing some of the things that I believe are like kind of important for everyone to see if you don't have time. So I'm just going to flip through these as quick as I can. Like I said, a bookmark. Do we want to talk about Laura Loomer? Like, I actually blocked her on X because her post infuriated me to a point that, like, it would put me in the worst mood. It would raise my blood pressure. So I've gotten really good about just, like, blocking certain accounts that do that to me, that I'm going to end up wasting my time and energy commenting on it on X. But she looks like Jigsaw from Saw. Okay? Everyone knows that. I liked what
Menorahs,
this guy was saying.
no nativity
Because
scene.
it's true.
America is a Christian country. And when you see on national news broadcasts or you see outside of our White House, menorahs, no nativity scenes, no crosses, you're looking at an act of subversion. You are looking at a flag planting ritual. We talked on this show, not
Whether that is true or not, that is how it looks. Okay? Whether that is true or not, that is how it looks. And for the last 10 days, we have had, as a Christian nation that has a 2% Jewish population, 2%, okay? We have had Hanukkah menorahs shoved in our faces every single day from the White House. Okay. Just yesterday or day before, over the weekend, maybe it was in the last 5 days, they had like 5,000 Jews celebrating Hanukkah at the White House. It is weird. Okay. It's weird. If you want to do like some symbolic lighting of the Hanukkah or whatever, candle menorah, if you want to do that, but you're overwhelmingly doing more Christian things, right? With crosses, with nativity scenes, then people wouldn't feel this way. Okay. I wouldn't feel this way, but we're not seeing that, right? Lighting a Christmas trees have more to do with just the commercial part. That's all it has to do of Christmas, right? That's the commercialization of it. So when we don't see you doing anything Christian, when this is supposed to be a Christian country, and then all we see is this kind of stuff, and you have people like Mark Levin and Miriam Adelson in the White House saying the things that they're saying, calling you the first Jewish president and things like, and then it's really scary. And then you've got these same people saying they're going to censor us. They're not going to let us talk about our criticisms of Israel. It is scary. It scares people. And this is breeding anti-Semitism. This is making our younger generation, our Gen Alpha, our Gen X, and lower IQ people, right? That don't have the maybe ability, the intellect to decipher the difference between Zionist, Israeli, Jewish, right? I have a bigger problem with the Zionist politicians, the Christians that are the Americans, okay, that are subverting the will of the people, that are literally trying to squeeze blood out of a turnip, sending our tax dollars when we're 38 trillion in debt to a foreign country when they know that we don't want them to do it. It's just unreal. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, I understand why a country the size of New Jersey is going to capitalize on the biggest, like the most influential, wealthiest country in the world, giving them billions of dollars every year and trying to keep them giving them billions of dollars and weapons a year. That is them trying to survive as the state that they are over there, right? Like, you can't, like, you almost, I don't blame them that much. I blame our politicians for selling out, right? For having the audacity to go to their, every 2 years or 4 years or whatever, every time there's a campaign, go to their freaking districts and stand on some stage and talk about how much they're going to do for their own people, and then go to Washington and forget all about them, not look at what the polls are, not look at the everyday Americans like me who aren't making any money doing this and are just going online at our own risk, really. I mean, every day that we see the kind of stuff I just showed you, where this administration keeps like adding more people on the government dime to be hunting people down that are just making legit criticisms of our own government officials not doing what's right for us, but doing what's right for another country, to hunt us down and call us racist and try to get us fired from our jobs and censored and silenced. Like, it's just, they're ignoring us, and we're screaming over every platform. And I'm happy to see people still talking about it. I'm going to leave this. I kind of want to talk about the Epstein files a little bit. I'm going to show you this. This is from 18 hours ago. Diligent Dennison, who is on X. He's probably one of the biggest space.
So you just do a copy and you paste it. Okay. And I
These are amazing. Okay.
Let me just show y'all something real quick, because in this file, okay, you can screenshot that, pause and screenshot if you need to, so you can look it up for yourself. this entire section is redacted, right? So you just do a copy and you paste it, okay? And I pasted it here, and I'll read that in a second. Just for context, this is the government of the United States of the Virgin Islands case versus Darren Indike, who is the executor for Jeffrey's estate, Richard Kahn, who's another executive for his estate, and a bunch of different LLCs, okay? So a bunch of shell corporations and companies, a bunch of different trusts where all of his fucking money went, and these two men are in charge of it. So the defendants in this case are the entire Epstein enterprise, essentially, okay? This isn't just these two men. This is the entire, this includes perpetrators of SA, okay? And I'll just read the redactions that this administration chose.
There's some way apparently that you're able to, I guess, like copy paste this redaction. I don't know. I haven't tried it. But people have been talking about it a lot, and they're getting to see things that are redacted by, I guess, getting the PDF file and then reopening it, and it's able to show them what it looks like unredacted. I'm sure the government's fixed it by now. And it's such a huge mistake on their part. You've got to almost wonder if the DOJ, whoever let this technical issue that is huge, how did they let this slip? Like, was it a real slip, or someone trying to let this information out for real because they want you to see it? And I mean, I don't know.
To keep from the public, okay? Defendants attempted to conceal their criminal trafficking and abuse by paying large sums of money to participant witnesses. Okay, so they're paying off witnesses, right? Paying off their attorney fees. 204, Epstein threatened to harm victims and help release damaging stories about them to damage their credibility when they try to go public with their stories, okay? 205, Epstein also instructed one or more Epstein enterprise participant witnesses to destroy evidence relevant to ongoing court proceedings. And so why do they not want this shown to the public? Doesn't have any victims' names in it. This is literal proof that they are redacting very damaging information regarding all of the defendants.
Like Thomas Massey said before the House, when he stood on the floor of the House and was getting this law signed, he said, you will know that the release of the files, that we've gotten all the files, we will know that this has been successful when there's arrests, right? He said, when rich, powerful men that Jeffrey Epstein was trafficking children to, or young women, whether some of them are, teenagers or older, whatever, when we see them break out in handcuffs, because this right here is proof, because it says, right, like she just said, Epstein also threatened harm to victims and helped release damaging stories to damage their credibility when they tried to go public with their stories of being sexually abused. Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, sat in a congressional hearing and lied under oath, right? He said that the young women were trafficked to no one but Jeffrey Epstein. That was in September. Does anybody else remember that? Because I remember it. And what's so crazy is the same people that are calling Candace Owens crazy, right? Where's her sanity? She's lying, or she's grifting. You can't trust her. That's what they want you to, her credibility is shot. They want you to believe the narrative that the FBI is giving you about Charlie Kirk, even though none of it makes sense. They want you to believe their narrative, not question it. And this is the same person that has lied before Congress, that has gone on the Maria Bartiromo show and said, with Dan Bongino sitting beside him, there's no there there. We've looked at all the files and there's just no there there, right? There's no there there. Trust me. I wrote the book Government Gangsters, right? I'm credible. That man makes me sick. Dan Bongino makes me sick too. And I really hope that he does not get a show again. I know he's going to go back to a show, but I really hope that he does not get success from it. I hope he is not successful. I don't think he will be. I think people are going to tune in at first, right? His diehard people, and I'll see clips and stuff on X, but his diehard people are going to tune in just enough to ask him, hey, are you going to tell us what you found out? You know, what happened? What happened? Why did, you know, why'd you lie? Or, you know, tell us the truth, basically. And he's going to be like, everything I said was true. Just so you guys know, I've watched videos and stuff that people have said that all Dan Bongino has been doing for the last few months is that he was in charge of making sure Trump's name and all of these important, his friends, his billionaire friends who also had these young women trafficked to, that their names were redacted, right? He was in charge of the redactions. Now, that's what I heard. So if that's not true, don't shoot me. But it was a reliable source that I heard that from, a pretty reliable source, right? I just don't know how anybody could ever, like, that's someone whose credibility is shot. Okay. That's someone who got to see behind the curtain, right? Just Kash Patel, his credibility shot. Pam Bondi, who said she had the files sitting on her desk, her credibility is shot. Yet the people that want to call Candace crazy and want to call people crazy for believing her and want to say that even like if this guy Mitch Snow is lying about Erica Kirk and Brian Harpole, who they have lied themselves, they have no credibility. All right. Those two people have no credibility. So, but regardless, if he lied for fame or he lied because someone asked him to lie to try to get Candace hemmed up, like it seems they're trying to hem her up now, you're choosing to believe them because the deep state is behind this whole push. It's a top-down push, okay, to not believe Candace. Whatever Candace is doing, she is onto something. All right. Like she is definitely onto something. We all feel it. We all know it. You can tell that Kash Patel and Dan Bongino have been lying their asses off in public, and it has been so disappointing. All right.
The Epstein drop. Thousands of pages, hundreds of photos, all heavily redacted because we have to protect the victims. And suddenly it's a Bill Clinton extravaganza. We have Bill with Ghislaine Maxwell. We have Bill skinny dipping with the creep himself. We have very compromising photographs of him with young girls. And apparently Bill Clinton was so popular with Jeffrey Epstein that he had a portrait done of him and hung it in his house. Remember this one? We have Woody Allen popping up like a really bad sequel to a novel nobody asked for. Who could forget Prince Andrew in his Scottish kilt, or even Noam Chomsky? Even Bill Gates made a cameo appearance. It was like a billionaire's gross fest.
Yeah,
The very
that's
same
right.
people that were screaming, release the files, you're protecting a pedo, are radio silent. Because things were looking so grim for the release the file folks, in a moment of desperation, what do? They repurpose a photograph of Donald Trump and his daughter Ivanka in their private jet.
Yeah.
And they redacted her face to make it look like he was with some young girl. And then they pull up a 1992 video from the archives where Donald Trump is acting like your drunk uncle at a wedding, chatting it up with Epstein's while we have girls.
This woman is
like
trying to make
cheerleaders
it
in the
sound
background.
like,
To me, I don't see anything wrong. It looks like Donald Trump is living his best life at a party with a bunch of adult women of consenting age.
okay, yeah. And so you dumb bitch, you're a dumb bitch. Right? Like you're a dumb bitch. Either that or you're a paid off bitch to be saying what you're saying. I just wanted to give an example of these treacherous people that will get on here and be like, I don't see anything wrong. They all look consenting to me. It's just like the red, like, haven't you, like, people are going around showing they also put in a photo of Michael Jackson with, what was it, his family, and they blacked out the faces of his family to make it look like they might be with victims, and had Donald Trump in it. And then they purposely released the other one and be like, oh, see, it was just his family. It was nothing. It was not a big deal. They were trying to like discredit it. Lady, I saw a file that Pam Bondi meant to have redacted, and she deleted it. Okay. She deleted it after she let it get out, but everyone else had already downloaded it. And it's a file of, it's a message from Trump to Epstein. And he's talking about a 14-year-old's breasts and what he wants to do with, like, what he did with them, or one, I think it was what he did to him. Anyway, it was disgusting. It was so bad that Valhalla couldn't even read the whole thing. I had to read it myself. I've got it screen recorded. And then so Pam Bondi deletes it. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, is there? People want to believe so bad, don't they? Like, you don't think that it makes my stomach turn that for 10 years I supported someone and I chose to believe until he was in a position where he had no excuse to not have these files released, where he's got, you know, the House, the Senate, and the Supreme Court, and he's got all his people in. It's the second term. He knows what he's doing. La-di-da-di-da. And he promised that he would have these Epstein files released. When he started calling his base losers, when he started lying and calling it a Democrat the hoax of the Democrats, like, I knew right there things were going to be bad. And I mean, just a couple months ago, like, it was factual that Trump got his DOJ to have some massive team of FBI agents to take them away from whatever their job was, looking for criminals, right? Whether it was looking for child traffickers or drugs or whatever, okay? To literally spend their entire time redacting his name from files before this got out. Fucking unreal, man. Stupid bitch. These people is just, anyway. Now, here's another thing we're talking about. I want to know what you people think about this. Okay. Like, before I play this, I'm just going to say I've not been very happy with
again lecturing Americans on the founding because you read a couple of.
He's an edgelord, remember that. But at the same time, dude, like, if you want people to see you as a credible, reliable, because the thing is, most of the stuff he says, most of it is common sense things that people think, like, that most Americans feel and think. He's venting frustrations. He lives in Chicago. He deals with this mass influx of immigration and also the crime that has torn through and destroyed Chicago, right? So you got to look at where he's coming from. He also was canceled 10 years ago by Ben Shapiro and Cassie Dillon, and that whole, they like literally conspired to have his whole life ruined, okay? Because he started asking questions about Israel. And they were genuine questions at the time. He didn't start off as bitter as he is now. Now, with that being said, I think that he ruins his own credibility. I think that right now, of all time, like, remember after Charlie Kirk was killed? All right, because Charlie Kirk and Nick Fuentes had a huge, they hated each other. Truly, they did. Okay. So everyone was wondering, what's Nick going to say about this? And when Nick came on, he said, he sounded so respectful and responsible, and he like said the right thing, you know? So, but then, you know, he got back to his old ways. And it's like some episodes he'll just say, he'll be calm and normal, his, you know, calm self. And then he'll say shit like this. Okay. And I don't know how I feel about it. I really don't.
You walk around in a suit with your fucking disgusting bare feet.
He's talking about Vivek.
You walk around with your big, stupid fucking head, receding hairline, pompous and arrogant, lecturing Americans on the founding because you read a couple of books about it. Like, this is your home. This is not your home. And you know it's not your home. That's why you married an Indian and you had Indian kids. You gave them Indian names. You didn't assimilate. You didn't even adopt the religion of our country. And you.
So Nick Fuentes does not want Vivek Ramaswamy to get the Ohio state governorship. And he's saying that it's not going to happen, that he's going to send the Groypers to Ohio to campaign against Vivek, right? And he's calling, I'm not even going to play all of this, but he's calls him a anchor baby. He attacks him for his race, and I do not agree with that at all. I think that is absolutely horrific. Technically, Vivek kind of is an anchor baby. Okay. I mean, as to what people consider an anchor baby, yeah, Vivek is. Vivek is also he was a billionaire. He was into big pharma. He's got this GOP elitist mentality. He's best friends with, like, he went to school with JD Vance. JD Vance is funded by Peter Thiel from Palantir. And after listening to Donald Trump say all the right things, this is the biggest problem right now that we all have with, like, those people that were part of the push to get Trump back into the White House, right? And JD Vance as the vice president, is that now we watch Donald Trump not do what he said he was going to do, basically spitting in the faces of his own base, which is why his poll numbers have completely tanked. Not to mention the economy is not doing good, and he's coming out pretending it is, right? And that is just, the gaslighting there is unbelievable. It's like, does he really believe what he's saying? Or is he just reading a script that Susie Wiles or some speechwriter wrote for him, and they're keeping him so secluded? No, he's got to know that people are struggling. Like, are they just, it feels so impossible to think that Trump could actually believe that the stock market, as overinflated as it is the indicator of how good most of America is doing. Most of America can't even afford to be part of the stock market. A lot of Americans don't even have 401ks, right? The only people, I mean, I think it's like, what is it, like, is it the top 10% or something? The top 10% income wise in America own like 90% of the stock market. That did not used to be how it was. And that's how it is now. And a lot of people, including me and my fiance, we lost money when because of the tariffs, okay, back in April. And a lot of people pulled their money out and got, like we did, because we were scared, because we saw things, it was bad, okay? And now it's kind of come back up to right where it was, but there's certain industries that are doing great. But the only people that those are benefiting are people in tech, Silicon Valley, his big corporate, the CEOs and stuff. Same with the tariffs. It kind of seems like the tariffs are only benefiting those top tier, right? I don't agree with, he calls, this kind of shit right here, man. This is like what makes it really hard for a Christian. Like, he calls himself a Christian, and yet he says some shit like calling Vivek racist names, and attacking him based on his race, saying white people are not going to vote you in. Like, I don't know how you think that that's going to help you win any kind of support or legitimacy as a media figure for the right. I mean, you are literally making yourself a parasite. Okay. I might agree with you on other things, but then I hear shit like this and I'm just like, dude, like, at least Vivek is being respectable. I understand that, like, can we trust anything that he says? Can we trust that he's going to do whatever it is he's promising to do on the campaign trail? No, but that's a state problem. That's an Ohio state. Are you from Ohio? Like, let Ohio deal with that. This is not part of the federal government. I could almost understand more, like, if Nick felt that strongly about Vivek not serving right now, that Europeans, his whole thing is white Europeans need to circle the wagons the way blacks kind of tend to circle the wagons, and Jews circle the wagons around their own people, and they support their own tribe. His whole thing is, if they're going to be tribal, we need to be tribal too, right? Especially right now with having all this mass immigration that came in. It's not getting out fast enough. And I can understand being tribal to some extent. But I don't know how you think that you have any legitimacy when you talk like this. Like, it makes your argument go down the damn toilet. Just saying. That's why I have it bookmarked American lunacy. Here's something else. All right.
Warning sign for our economy that people are not coming to McDonald's for breakfast anymore. I would like to argue with you that the reason that people are not coming to McDonald's for breakfast anymore is not just a sign of the economy. It's also a sign of the fact that you guys have jacked your prices 3 times what they were since the start of COVID, and you have no customer service whatsoever. If you don't believe me, go to McDonald's for breakfast and you'll have the following interaction. You'll pull up and they'll go, "Can I take your order?" "Sure, yeah, let me get 2 sausage McMuffins with egg, hash brown meal, and a large coffee and a small orange juice." "All right, 1634, pull around." Pull up to the window. "Hey, 1634. There you go. Thanks." That's your experience going to McDonald's for breakfast.
Is he wrong? I mean, it's not just McDonald's, but it is kind of crazy because you got to realize, like, these CEO, like these big corporations, these massive chain restaurants, you know, they're typically conglomerates of several restaurants, right? And it's like they thought they were capitalizing off the inflation of the food costs, right? Like back in 2020, when the pandemic hit and the lockdowns happened, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure you could still get 2 hash browns for $1, at least in North Carolina, or it was like $1.50 for 2 hash browns. I'm just giving an example here. And like an Egg McMuffin meal might have been, I want to say it was like $5.50 plus tax or something. It's like my favorite meal. That's the #1 McDonald's meal. And they are more than double the price that they were 5 years ago. They have not come down on their price. So if egg prices went up, like the cost of eggs, the cost of whatever that they're using to make it didn't go up enough for them to do this. And honestly, they should be just like eating the cost. What happens? You mean to tell me like these billionaires, they can't break even or even having to go in the red for a couple years, like to lower prices? Because if they were to lower prices, everybody else lowers prices. And then guess what? They get their customers come in and spend a lot of money and it kind of starts to even out, right? I don't know. It is a sign of a bad economy, though, that people are not eating out because they can't afford it. But it's also the fact that these fast food restaurants are jacking the prices of their shit up, and it's ridiculous.
Go to Chick-fil-A. This is your experience.
Oh my God,
Pull up, little dudes out front with the iPad. "Hi, sir. How are you today?" "Doing great, thanks." "What is your name, sir?" "Name's Matt." "All right, Matt, what can we get you for breakfast today?" Let me do a breakfast sandwich with egg and sausage, hash browns, large coffee, small OJ." "All right, 1222. Thank you very much. Go ahead and pull around to the next window. Can I take your card right now to get the payment out of the way for you?" "Sure." There you go. "All right, pull around. Next window." "Hey, Matt, how's your morning going?" Very good. Thank you so much for choosing Chick-fil-A. Here is your meal, sir. And can I get you anything else? You need any sauces or extra napkins or anything? Yeah, let me get some of this sauce. Okay. All right. Thanks very much again for choosing Chick-fil-A. And you have yourself a wonderful day. And you'll pull off. Now, if you're young, no problem if that's not important to you. If customer service means nothing to you, just want to get your food and bounce, I totally get it. Like, there's too much false interaction of everything in the universe. But basic.
No, when people go to a restaurant, especially like fast food is not cheap food anymore, like it should be, even though the quality's garbage still, if not worse than it used to be. Like the quality is garbage. So the least that these people can do is like put a smile on your freaking face and say, "Here's your change," or "Do you need any ketchup?" or any of this. And they're even getting paid. Like, that's another thing. Another reason that these meals are costing so much is because under the Biden administration, they started doing this mandatory minimum wage of like $15 an hour. And I know that's not everywhere, but minimum wage went up everywhere for fast food workers. And it's like, it's just crazy that maybe when they were making not enough, they were busting their ass working harder so they would get a raise. I don't know. All I know is that customer service has gone down the freaking toilet everywhere, including Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is the best still out of all of them. I'll give them that. Now, here's something else. This is
trying to gas Khabib out. I don't think he's trying to gas Khabib out. I think he's getting smashed. Nope, it's on the chin.
There's the tap. Still undisputed. Khabib Nurmagomedov has finished Conor McGregor tonight.
Look at him. Look at him scream.
Dude, watch this. Watch what Khabib is about to do, dude. He is so, like, when you're fighting, your adrenaline is so high. I don't think your adrenaline could be any higher than when you are physically fighting another human being and then you win. But for him to do this, I don't know what his beef was with the Conor McGregor team, but it must have been something.
At the corner, he's screaming at Dylan Dennis. Look at him. Oh,
and now Khabib jumps the fence.
Over the rail.
No, and he's going right at Dylan Dennis. Mayhem. Oh, no. Total chaos here. It looks like UFC security has corralled Khabib.
This is not wrestling, guys. This is UFC.
Oh!
What is happening?
And now one of Nurmagomedov's teammates throws a right-handed Conor. All hell has broken loose.
What did I just watch? Like, what was that? For real, what was that? I don't know. I love UFC. I really do. I love UFC. And I just thought I would share some crazy stuff that I've seen. And try not to be pissed off at how hard I am shadow banned for just speaking truth. And it's not like I on Facebook, but I am so shadow banned and it is pissing me off. Oh, I got the rest under this. Sorry. Okay. Let me go faster here. Won't need any more of this right now. This is concerning because this is
Vladimir Putin. What are you doing here?
Not only is Secretary of State Marco Rubio the Secretary of State, right, which is the most powerful position besides the presidency, but he's also, isn't he the National Security Advisor as well? He's doing double duty right now. And I can say as a recovering addict that this is a problem. I mean, this is addict stuff. He is acting high. Okay. He is acting extremely high.
Yes, sir.
It's
Vladimir
embarrassing.
Putin today.
I thought you were introducing yourself.
No,
Vladimir
definitely
Putin.
not. Definitely not. Vladimir
What are you
Putin.
doing here?
Nick Schiffer in PBS NewsHour. Vladimir Putin had his own end-of-year press conference today.
Oh, he's trying to step on my message.
Yeah. His went, I think, 4 hours. So we got at
worry
least
about
3
that.
hours. And he said he was willing to end the war in
I
Ukraine.
bet you didn't do it in Spanish.
He did not.
All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's right. He said he was willing to end the war in Ukraine based on principles he had outlined last summer, and that included a complete Ukrainian withdrawal from 4 regions, most of.
Guys,
Yes, sir.
I just saw
Vladimir
this
Putin
today, and I'm like,
I thought you were introducing.
I mean, do you see this? Like, watch him being, one more time. I want you to watch how shifty he's being, okay? I don't know what's up with this sound, but I feel like it is not loud enough. And it is saying it is at 100% everywhere, so I'm not sure what's going on here. Just watch this one more time, though, please.
Introducing yourself.
No.
I'm Vladimir
Definitely not. Definitely not. Vladimir
What are you
Putin.
doing here?
Nick Schiffer in PBS NewsHour. Vladimir Putin had his own end-of-year press conference today.
Oh, he's trying to step on my message.
Yeah. His went, I think, 4 hours. So we got at least 3 hours. And he said he was willing to end the war in
I
Ukraine.
bet you didn't do it in Spanish.
He did not.
All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's right. He said he was willing to end the war in Ukraine based on principles he had outlined last summer, and that included a complete Ukrainian withdrawal from 4 regions, most of.
that kind of speaks for itself. I am going to show, speaking of, I mean, it is kind of, it's concerning. I mean, we know that politicians do drugs, but like, they are so, it looks bad right now. It's not just the, like, that's Marco Rubio that we just saw, but Alex Karp is the CEO of Palantir, right? Palantir works with the CIA. They are the ones building the surveillance state. They work with ICE. They work with the FBI. Okay. The CEO of Palantir should be sharp and be able to do interviews without looking like this. Okay. And this is a little bit older. Did they scrub this? Deal book summit, Torso. Okay, it was the Deal Book Summit. That's why. Hold on. Okay, this was New York Times, who is, you know, on the side of these more liberal people. Damn, did they scrub this shit? I'm seeing some of it, but I'm not seeing. There's a main clip. Hold on. God, it must be nice to be Palantir. If you do something embarrassing, like be jacked up on a whole bunch of medicine or coke or whatever, like here's people making fun of them for it.
So I think the real version is, like, I made a lot of decisions when we began talking and knowing each other 10 years ago, hopefully.
All right, I'll just ignore that for now, I guess. I was going to show it, but all right, I'm about to get off of here, guys, but I'm just looking through all my bookmarks. There's no way that's really her face, right, y'all? Like, there's no way someone had to have edited that, but whatever, like, whatever plastic surgery or facelift or whatever that woman got, it looks really bad. It really does. It really, really does. All right, we will look at, there's, I thought this was really good.
They stabbed us in the back. They betrayed us, not the other way around. I'm done. I'm not fighting for these liars. I'm not fighting for this administration anymore. I'm done. I'm out. They broke up with us. They stabbed us in the back. They betrayed us, not the other way around. We don't owe them anything. They owe us everything. They work for us, in case you forgot. Mike Johnson at the event this weekend. Oh, They're coming to impeach Trump. Oh, you don't say. You don't say, Little Johnson. You don't say, Tiny Johnson. You mean the Republicans are going to lose the midterms and they're going to impeach Trump? Well, golly gee, I could have sworn somebody was saying that 6 months ago and you called them panicans. Isn't that funny? And now all of the Trump.
People are calling Owen Schroyer black-pilled. You know, this is his new show that he started ever since he left Infowars. And like, maybe he is black-pilled. A lot of us are. It's really hard to get on here and feel like we're beating a dead horse talking about the same crap. But if we don't talk about it, then it we can't let the other ones just win with their propaganda. We can't do that. Well, guys, I think my fiance is home and I'm going to end this now. You guys have a good night and have a great Christmas.